Hi everyone. This has been on my mind 24/7. I've cried myself to sleep thinking about it multiple times, and I don't know if I'm making the right choice. For context, I'm 20 years old, and my dad is almost 50 years old. Growing up, my dad was mostly physically inactive. He was always overweight, 250 hours lbs at 6'1". My dad has been diagnosed with depression since childhood and doesn't cope well with stress. During the pandemic, my dad told me that he wanted to lose weight. I was proud of him for deciding to make a healthy lifestyle change. I decided that I'd provide him with moral support and that we'd go for walks together every day because it's hard for him to motivate himself to do high commitment activities on his own. I also thought that this would help us get closer and felt a moral obligation to go with him because he worked very hard to raise me. His target weight was 150 libs. Soon after he started his journey, I realized that working out stresses him out. People typically handle stress better when they're exercising regularly, since exercise is a stress reliever. This wasn't the case for my dad. My dad hated working out so much, and he would take all his anger out on me. However, he always disguised his anger as a life lesson. I genuinely fully believed him and gave him the benefit of the doubt. I always knew that he thought a little differently than normal people because of his depression. He always said that I need to know how to handle his anger, so that I'd know how to deal with the harsh realities of life in the future. I was understanding about the fact that exercising was very stressful for him, so I was okay with being the scapegoat during his walks, as long as he kept going and achieving his goals. His goals were my goals. I didn't fully realize the mental toll all the fighting was taking on me at the time. I thought there was something wrong with me for feeling depressed after the walks, especially since my dad used to tell me that everything he said was for my own betterment. I genuinely thought I wouldn't be able to succeed in life because, as he said, if I can't handle him, I can't reach my full potential. Therefore, I would always bottle up my feelings and try to ignore them. Some days, my dad would get so mad at me and would send me back home as a punishment for making him mad. He also would give me silent treatments and then make me responsible for asking for forgiveness. This really stung, especially since I was the one who constantly showed up for him to achieve his goals. This went on for a little over a year until my dad finally reached his goal weight. There was absolutely no thank you or anything of that sort, even after his goal was achieved. To be honest, I didn't really expect it or necessarily want him to thank me because that wasn't the point. Looking back, this feels like a slap in the face considering everything it took to get him to his goal. Supporting someone in losing 100 libs is not easy. Throughout the time since my dad started working out to when he reached his goal weight, my parents were going through a divorce. My dad wanted and had asked for the divorce. It was finalized shortly after my dad reached his goal weight, and he moved away for a while. While he was living alone, my dad would go for walks by himself to maintain his weight. The next time I visited my dad was more than a year after he left. Even though he'd been exercising at the beginning, he'd fallen back into his old habits and didn't know how to cope with the divorce, so he started stress eating.